We're on the home straight. And our wash is dry. They're suitably darkened. Next step, I'm going to get the white on the bases. And once the white on the base is done, I'm going to then, I'm then going to do the rust and verdigris. Verdigris. I don't know. I don't speak a language. So the base is fairly simple. It's basically take a rubbish brush, stipple with white. Again, I'm using the Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White again. Very, very rough and ready because, well, one, it's going to need a couple of coats over the black anyway, and two, I don't mind it going a little bit up any details on the base, so I'm deliberately going up a bit on the tomb sat on this executioner, whatever his name is, on his base. So again, and the reason why I'm doing this is because while this dries, I can do the other bits, and then I can come back with the final step. Again, very, very rough and ready. I've worked out that excluding drying times, priming and varnishing, I've currently spent about 45 minutes of video time on these three models, which, considering the state they're in, for 50 minutes per model, I'm more than happy with that. This is my first time properly speed painting anything, and I am absolutely chuffed with how quickly I'm getting it all done. I have now worked out, I've got a friend through whom I'm acquiring a lot more models, so I'd best get that speed painting going. So again, very, very rough and ready, because it's a stippling effect. I'm just basically putting another layer on. Let go. As I said, once I've done this and done the rust and verdigris, the only thing left will be, well, what I do on the bases, which is very, very simple, achromatic blue, and then paint. And then once all that's dry, paint the rims black and spray them with matte varnish. And then they'll be done and battle ready. And I will have even more Nighthaunts I can be proud of. As I said, this is one of these rubbish brushes that I just picked off in a really, really big multi-pack from Amazon. I think it was about 10 quid. Got me something like 30 to 40 fairly rubbish synthetic brushes, which I use for things like rubbish oil paints, or use for things like oil paints, oil washes, anything where I really don't care about, where I really it's going to mess up the brush. Speaking of, while those dry, get my brush. I have my Dirty Down Rust and Dirty Down Verdigris. I'm going to start with Rust. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Shake it like the Polaroid picture. And then anywhere that is steel on them is going to get a fairly heavy dose straight from the pot. Don't bother any watering down. Chains. Intentionally fairly heavy. I don't generally bother doing the inside bits where you can't really see it. Chainmail. This goes on very heavy because the effect when it dries is abso-freaking-lutely amazing. I'll probably never bother with anything else for Rust again. A couple of nice things. It is water soluble, and so if I make a mistake, Just get a bit of water on the brush. And just wipe it up. I'm deliberately doing these guys first because they're going to have the verdigris on them, whereas the execution, or whatever he's called, I can never remember the names, will not. So again, this guy, it's just all the areas where you've got his chainmail. Again, don't have to be too neat because this is all about the effect from a distance and having that really, at the end of the day, if my army is cohesive and all painted, they're going to look good from tabletop distance. I'm really not looking for display quality, not at, under half an hour a model. Especially when potentially I'm going to have 50 more chain rasps to paint up very soon. And just the little chain on this dude's, a couple little chain things he's got. Slather it on, nice and heavy. And the other thing I've been doing with these guys is, although they've got this nice spectral blade, the bits of pitting on it, I'm going to sort of put a bit of the rust effect around, so that it looks, well, adds a little bit of visual interest, and makes it look like something's actually a bit worn away, bit of variation, bit of tonal variation. Right, that's the rust effect. That can done. Verdigris. This is going to go on the bells. Deciding I'm going to make them coppery. Again, absolutely same idea. Make it, slather it on, really heavy. Just all over the place on the coppery bits. It was speed paints hardened leather. It is now covered in verdigris. All in the inside of the bell as well. Really, really strong effect. And there's one more bit I still need to do. This guy, the bell. You get a bit of the copper showing through, but it's going to mostly look like something that's really, really old. Put it to one side, let it dry a bit, and I'll show you shortly the effect. Same idea on this guy. So they're all over. I do find this kind of wrecks the brushes over time, although I haven't actually tried cleaning them up properly with brush soap. But hey, it's half fun, isn't it? Again, why I'm using the super cheap brushes that are, 30p each. Do need to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, you can hopefully you can see it on the brush matting up there. Haven't tried the this paint through my airbrush yet. I probably won't anytime soon. That's about done. Good. Leave those dry for a bit. It doesn't take too long to dry. If I show you, so when you can really see verdigris effect showing up on the smaller bell, see the rust, put rust on the various bits, you see just how effective that looks. Absolutely wonderful. I think the white on the base isn't quite dry yet, so I will pause that there, and I'll collate this with the other step once I've finished the base as well. And now we return. So it's all dry, base all dry. You can see a lovely verdigris effect. It's not too pronounced, but it's nice. The rust's great. Love the rust effect. If I want, I could go a bit of water and redo it, but we're working to how quick can I do it. So the last step is also quite fun. I've got these Dr. Tabletop drop bottles on my contrast paints. I backed the Kickstarter. You can't seem to get them anymore. They're great. I love them. Because what this allows me to do in this situation is I simply, well, quite a generous amount straight onto the white at the base, and then just spread it out. Really, really quick. No faffing. No messing around with where things are. I simply just spread it all over. Deliberately getting a little bit up the tombstone, etc. And that's the base done. One. Again, getting a little bit up base. Eve going onto the black a little bit, which is absolutely fine because it'll it just helps tie the whole thing in together. Just make sure to spread it everywhere, nice and thick. Makes it look nice and glowy. Again, squirt that out, spread it everywhere. And with that, I'm done. The only other thing is, once that dry, is I will paint the rooms black, and then they'll get a coat of matte varnish. And that's how I do my Nighthaunts. Hope you enjoyed.